All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the Voscast, talking about enhancing human performance. As always, I am your resident Blue Vos Academy professor, Mike, joined by my co-host, Blue Vos Cody. Cody, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Mike. Thanks for asking. Nice to be here.
We're joined today by Dominic Brister, aka Mystic Mayhem. Dominic, how you doing?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Doing great, thanks. Doing great. Dominic primarily works with Call of Duty. You can catch him on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, twitch.tv/Mystic Mayhem _, Twitter at _Mystic _Mayhem _, and on YouTube at Mystic Mayhem. So what we're talking about today is gaming on the brain. And with gaming on the brain, gaming associated with the brain, we just rolled out a new article on Blue Vos Academy about gaming in the brain. You can check that out, bluevos.com, and scroll to Blue Vos Academy for that. And we're going to be rolling out a number of other articles. But what we wanted to talk about is, how does one learn in video games? We often sit down, we often play video games, but we don't think about, how are we absorbing this information? How are we retaining this information? Cody, I think it's pretty safe to say that if you picked up a controller today and I asked you to play, I don't know, Super Mario Brothers 3, that you would pretty much know how to play it.
Yeah, I think, it's kind of like muscle memory. You play something so often and you practice at it and you kind of just learn it and you don't really forget it. I mean, you're obviously going to be rusty, but yeah, generally you learn it and it sticks with you.
Right. And Dominic, how many versions of Call of Duty have you played since the series has come out?
Honestly, I believe I've covered all of them so far.
And what is the big difference between any of the versions other than the core gameplay?
Well, they keep a great update with the maps and everything, and I don't know, let's see, they added exosuits and everything, and just a lot of different way to play the game mainly.
Now, when you have to, say, get a new version of Call of Duty, or you have to get a new map or start working on a new map, how do you learn the map? What do you do to go about learning the new map, the places to go, places to camp out, places to catch other opponents?
Well, honestly, I just keep playing it to stay familiar with it. And also, sometimes I go to YouTube just to see what other people do and see how they go about it. And just try to practice a lot on it and figure it out myself. But if not, I turn to YouTube and see what other people do.
And that's, that's a good point that you bring up, Dominic, is when we actually talked in our article about gaming on the brain, it comes down to repetition. Repetition. At the end of the day, repetition is the essence of learning, as I was once told. And what we often fail to consider in gaming is that when we sit down and we play a game, our brain is engaged. Our brain is taking short-term memory and trying to convert it into long-term memory, trying to take those reflexes and convert them into something that we've known all along. And the other thing that we need to pay attention to is that, again, we're learning, but we're also solving a problem. We're also solving a key issue in that the game presents a problem and we have to essentially solve that problem to win. So Dominic, when you were talking about, hey, I'm going to YouTube, I'm trying to figure out this answer, we go to wikis, we look at strategy guides, we look at YouTube videos about how other people are approaching the game in an effort to learn it better, right? Cody, you play a lot of COD, right?
Yeah, I play a lot of COD.
All right. And so how are you learning in that game? How are you becoming better in that game?
I think essentially it's just, learning my own personal play style and finding what works, giving everything a try, taking the time with it, and just, seeing not only what other people are doing, but maybe not particularly like things that wouldn't work for me because I play a different way, or you know what I mean? Like just finding something that works for me that I'm comfortable with, that I know that I can learn quicker than say something that wouldn't really work with my play style.
And you see, that's another great point, is that we are essentially the creators of this game, in the sense that we're creating it in our own image, right? We're solving the problem from our own perspective, right? And so when we look at a game, we look at it so much different than other people look at it. And that's how we're solving the problem in the game. But what's also interesting is that we don't see the game as a problem to be solved, right? So Dominic, when you're playing COD, do you look at it as, I have to solve this problem, I have to overcome this barrier? Or are you looking at it in terms of, hey, I want to sit down, I want to have fun, but I also want to kind of get better?
Mainly, I go for the fun part. I want to get better, and I just want to play the game and do it the way I need to, I guess, and just basically, I don't know, be good at it and have fun with it.
Right, and that's, you know what, and obviously that's how we should all be when we play a game. But if you think about it, and this is the key that I think at Bluevos that we really believe in terms of how you can improve at your gaming, is if you look at it in terms of a problem to be solved, then you will find the areas where you're lacking, or you will find the solution to make yourself a better gamer to solve that problem. If you don't understand a map, if you don't understand how a certain player is beating you or how a certain other team is beating you, you're going to find answers as to how to solve that problem. And a big example that I like to give is there was a linguistics professor at the University of Arizona named Jim G, and Jimgee, and I encourage everybody to look up his videos. And he talks about the idea that we will spend a semester, 15 weeks in a classroom studying for a subject. And then at the end of it, we're tested. We're tested about the content. We're tested about the content that we know. But in a game, every single time that we enter a game, we are learning and we are being tested. We are learning and we are being tested. So we are actively being tested on the content that we are learning right then and there. So we should consider every single time that we enter a video game space, a new map, a new scenario, that it's an opportunity for us to be educated, and it's an opportunity for us to learn, and it's an opportunity for us to find the areas where we're lacking and grow from them, right? So, Dominic, if you look at a certain map, right, and what is the first thing that comes to your head if you go, oh man, these guys are killing me, or I don't understand this map? You go to YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Cody, where do you go?
I pretty much go to the same place. If not, I'll go to Twitch and watch, somebody who's pretty good at the game play that map and see what they do. Try and copy it, copy success.
Right. And so we look at it in terms of how can we better learn? How can we better overcome this? And a big part of that, and we talk about this in our next few articles, is we have to be aware. Right? We have to be aware and we have to be ready to learn. We have to be ready to absorb this information. Otherwise, we're just going to sit and mindlessly play and not improve our skills. So I guess my next question for you, Dominic, is there anything that you do before you get on a stream, before you get down in game? Is there any routine that you have? Is there anything you get to, or anything you do to be prepared?
Really, the only thing is I just play, try to jump into it and see how I do, and then just base myself off of how I'm playing, and prepare myself like that, I guess.
Dominic, have you ever been on any marathon streams or have gone on a really long gaming session, like extremely long?
Well, I haven't really got into live streaming yet. It's a big thing I want to come up into. But I've done a couple streams here and there, and no, nothing really too big yet.
What about in your day-to-day life? Have you ever just sat down and just next thing you know, it's dark outside and you're like, oh my God, I've been playing for hours.
Oh, yeah, that actually happens quite a bit because I just get lost in it, I guess, something I love doing, and you just lose track of time.
How do you feel mentally? How do you feel afterwards when you have to finally put down the game?
Well, it's kind of heartbreaking sometimes, but it just it feels good to do something you love doing, and it feels good.
Yeah, for sure. Cody, you just got off helping out with was it a 24-hour stream?
It was actually a 36-hour stream, but I could only make it for 24 hours. I wasn't really helping. I was just kind of there, like supporting kind of thing. But yeah, that was a long haul.
How did you feel at the end of it?
I was exhausted. I was pretty messed up, not gonna lie. It took me 2 or 3 days to get back into the groove of things, but it was good. It was interesting to experience that, and I don't regret it.
I remember the first time that I started playing, I picked up Halo, like way back when, and I sat down, and it was, I don't know, middle of the afternoon. Next thing I know, my brother walks in, and it's about, I don't know, 9 or 10 o'clock at night. He goes, "You're still playing that?" I'm like, yeah, I am. And he goes, "It's been like 8 hours." I'm like, Jesus, it's been that long? And I didn't realize that I was playing for that long. I also realized that for probably the last hour or two that I was playing the same level essentially over and over and over again because, I mean, obviously I was tired. I started to suck, and I didn't really realize it. I didn't really realize that I had to put the game down. So have any of you guys ever, I'll go to Dominic first. Have you ever had that sort of situation where you're just playing the same thing over and over and over again because you're pretty much just tired and you don't really realize it?
Yeah. You just like Call of Duty and stuff when you do campaigns and you play and play, you can't beat it, but it's tiring. It drains you.
All right. So looking, I guess, at the alternative, right? In terms of how can we keep ourselves sharp? How can we keep ourselves focused? How can we keep ourselves ready to learn in the game? That's where BlueVos comes in. And that's a big reason why we developed BlueVos is because, sometimes we're in long gaming sessions. Sometimes you're going to sit down, you're going to play League, and, it's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, and you need to stay sharp. So, I mean, obviously we are BlueVos. We believe in BlueVos. Dominic, what's your take on BlueVos from your experience?
Well, I've bought 2 bottles so far. I've loved what it's done for me. It gives me energy and gives me great focus. Also, I notice that a lot when I'm playing. I just feel more focused in game. I feel like I do better when I take BlueVos, and it just gives me a great positive vibe, honestly.
So we're gonna throw a little knowledge at you, Dominic. Is that what's happening when you have BlueVos before you game? We all have our lives, right? And you can get pretty tired during the day, and the things you're doing in your day-to-day life. And what's happened if you take BlueVos before you game is how we learn and how we send information by neurotransmitters in our brain. There are billions of them in our brain, roughly about 100 billion or something like that. And they send information back and forth. And so if you are rested, if you are alert, if you are healthy, then what's happening is your brain is operating at optimum levels, all right, optimal levels, and you're ready to learn. However, if you're tired, all right, if you're sluggish, if you're not focused, if you're sick, your neurotransmitters are working to keep you awake. They're working to heal you. They're working to keep you healthy. They're working to do everything but absorb information. So what happens is if you're tired, if you're not focused, BlueVos helps keep you at an optimum level, keep that brain working and those neurotransmitters actively working at an optimum level. So Dominic, when you're having BlueVos before a game session, you're allowing yourself to be alert and you're allowing yourself to learn from the game. So if we look at, before I move on to the next topic, I guess one of the next questions that I want to follow up with is, what would you suggest a person do in COD to be better at it?
Well, honestly, practice, big thing, and then have a good mindset when you go into it, and just be positive. If you do a little bit horrible, just keep into it, and you always want to be a team player. You want to get along with people, obviously, and just have a good time with it. Just have a good time.
And that's you've pretty much proved the point that I wanted to make, which was you have to go into it with the right mindset. And if we're tired, if we're stressed, if we're sluggish, and we start losing, that's going to make us more frustrated. It's going to make us want to turn off the game. Cody, have you ever been in a situation where you're just losing, you're getting annihilated by another person or another team, and you're just like, screw this, I don't want to play anymore?
It's actually funny you asked that. Just last night in League, definitely was one of those moments. It was not a good time, but it didn't help with teammates being toxic and having a lot of people in the game being pretty salty over the situation that was going on. But you got to try and get past those moments, and you got to try and have fun with it, like Dominic was saying. And sometimes it's hard. It's hard when you're losing to feel good about it.
Dominic, have you ever had just a really bad session or had to deal with some really bad players?
Oh, of course, yes. Just a lot of that, especially in Call of Duty.
Yeah, I can imagine. So I guess the big point that you make, Dominic, is you got to be positive. You got to have the right attitude. And so what we're trying to say in episode 3 of the Voscast is that if you're primed to learn, if you go into a game with a mindset that says, you know what, I'm probably going to lose. I'm probably going to get killed, or I'm probably not going to be operating at the best that I can in terms of my gaming potential. And you understand that, and you say, I'm here to learn. I'm here to grow. I'm here to take those mistakes and learn how to overcome those mistakes. Then you are learning. Then you are going to get better at the game, because the game in itself is an education. The game is a science. And how can you get the right formula to work within that science? And so, Dominic, I'm so happy that you said, you got to go in and enjoy it. You got to go in with the right attitude. And sometimes you're not going in with the right attitude. Sometimes you're tired as hell. And that's where BlueVos comes in. That gives us the right attitude. It gives you the right focus. It gives you the right energy. And it gives you the right energy for a few hours. So having said that, Dominic, what is the current version of COD that you're playing right now?
I've been playing a lot of the remastered, the Modern Warfare remastered. It's a good game. I haven't touched Infinite. I touched Infinite Warfare the day of the release, but I'm not about the futuristics, I guess. So I jumped back to the remastered, and it's nostalgia, seeing a game that used to be back in the day, and it finally comes back up to date, and that's the one I'm currently working on.
Is the COD community really jumping on that one? Is that the one everybody's playing right now?
I feel like it's that way, but I guess there's different opinions, but it seems to be pretty popular.
Which COD did you find it most difficult to master?
I would probably say Advanced Warfare when it first came out, because it was just a whole new system with the exosuits and everything, just a whole different movement. Instead of being, you're on the ground, you're shooting people on the ground, but now it adds a whole different level to the game, and you have to look up in the sky and everything like that. So I guess that was the hardest one for me.
And how long does it, between versions, how long does it usually take you to be confident in a new version and say, yeah, I got this?
I mean, it could be a couple days, it could be months. I don't know. I'd say a good month or two just to get used to the game.
Right. Cody, new versions, how long does it take?
For me, it definitely took at least a month, especially because I took kind of a break in between from the first Modern Warfare, or the second Modern Warfare, to the newest one. I decided I'd give it a shot after playing Black Ops 3. So definitely took me a little longer to get used to the whole flying around all over the place instead of boots on the ground. But once I got the hang of it, it actually was pretty fun. But yeah, about a month, if not a little longer, definitely.
Dominic, would you say that learning new game, a new version of Call of Duty is no different than learning how to ride a bike, how to ride a snowboard, how to drive a car? It's just, it takes time and it takes a bit of patience.
Yes, yeah.
Cody?
Yeah, definitely. You need to take your time and learn it, because that's when you develop bad habits if you don't take the time to do that, and that's what really affects your gameplay, is when you do those little things that end up actually hurting you in the long run.
And that's a good point, in that I guess the last big point that I want to make is that you can make those small mistakes if you're not paying attention, you're not ready to learn, and you're not ready to identify those mistakes and overcome those mistakes. Because as I said earlier, that we have short-term memory, and our short-term memory transfers into our long-term memory. So that, Cody, when you pick up Super Mario Brothers 3 X amount of years later, you're still going to know how to play it. But you may not remember where all the flutes are hidden or all the hidden tricks, because that was lost in your short-term memory. When the short-term memory transfers to long-term memory, there's information that's lost. There's information that goes by the wayside. And the reason for that is, if you're not primed to learn, if you're tired, if you're sluggish, if you're paying attention to something else, then you're not primed to learn, and you're going to forget that information. So if you don't go into a gaming session thinking to yourself, I'm ready to learn, I got the right attitude, I'm prepared for this, then yes, you'll still retain your core skills. And I'm sure a lot of people have retained their core skills. Dominic, I'm sure you've retained your core skills. Cody, I'm sure you've retained your core skills from each COD version. But those new things like the exosuits or all the stuff that was introduced in Infinite Warfare, that you're probably not going to remember because you're not primed to learn that new information. So it's important for us to go in with the right attitude and being able to learn and be educated and see it as a learning session. That yes, we're not going to remember everything, but we need to learn from that. When we go back the next time, we're going to nail it. It's no different than studying for a test. So, Cody, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that's pretty on point there. Like, even just from, I'm just thinking back as you're talking about that, even like back to the Rock Band days when Rock Band first came out. Me and my buddies would play it at night, and we'd try and get through all the hardest songs, and we'd get all pissed off because we couldn't do it. Go to bed, wake up the next morning, well, let's try it out. First time we try it, it goes off without a hitch. So obviously we were learning something, and our brains are doing something, because we wouldn't have been able to pass that without actually physically learning.
You went to bed, you were rested. So when you woke up in the morning, your brain was ready to go. Exactly.
And that's I was just thinking about that as you were talking about that. I was like, wow, it's that's what you have to do. You have to be ready to learn.
Dominic, do you have any views on that? Anything any perspective of what we were talking about right now?
Yeah, I see what you mean exactly by learning and everything, and just resting up and staying positive. And it takes time to get used to things, and just to master it, you have to take your time, I guess.
There was an article on Kotaku this week that talked about marathon streamers and how difficult it was. Especially, there was one individual who was playing, I think, Just Dance or something along those lines. They said how taxing it was on the energy. And so we need to really be aware of the sleep we're getting and the rest and the focus and whatnot that we're having, because otherwise we're just not going to get any better at the game. So having said that, I want to wrap things up real quick. Dominic, is there anything that you're working on right now, or anything up on the horizon, or anything that you want us to know about your Twitch channels or anything you're putting up on YouTube, or what games are you're going to be working on in the future?
Well, I bought Battlefield 1 as soon as it came out, and I haven't touched the game at all. So I want to start making a lot of Battlefield 1 videos. Another thing, to start streaming a lot more, because I have all the things for it, but I just haven't really got into it. It's something I'm definitely interested in. And basically, I guess that's about it for me for big plans right now.
Cool. And just as a reminder to everybody, you can catch Dominic on Twitch at twitch.tv/Mystic Mayhem _, on Twitter at _Mystic_Mayhem _ and Mystic Mayhem on YouTube. We will have all of your links in the bio for this podcast. Cody, anything you want to plug, my man?
Everybody keep getting better. Read our articles. Learn about what it takes to get better and what it takes to perform at your peak, and just keep positive. I hope you're all having fun out there playing games and whatever you're doing, to be honest. So yeah, that's all I got.
All right. So be sure to check out our new feature articles on gaming on the brain, available on the Bluevos Academy. That is on bluevos.com. We are a couple weeks into our brand new sponsorship program with Bluevos. You can also check that out on bluevos.com. Be sure to follow Bluevos Energy on all the social media outlets, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and follow our own sexy Bluevos Cody on Twitch at Bluevos Cody. Follow him on Twitter at Bluevos Cody as well. Dominic, thank you so much for coming on today. We really appreciate your perspective.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do this.
All right. Dominic, great friend of Bluevos and a longtime supporter. So we really appreciate all the support. And until next time, guys, stay healthy, evolve your game, and enhance your human potential with Bluevos. Guys, we'll see you next time.
See ya.